Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Club Live here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. We are live on YouTube. As always, it is Friday night. We are here as usual, so get yourself subscribed to the channel, get yourself involved in the live chat, as we've got quite a wee bit to catch up on since we had no midweek pod. I am Scott Carney. Joining me this evening is Alistair Pearson. Ali, how are you?
Very well. The sun is shining. There's only 2 weeks left, I think, of watching Rangers, as we discussed before we came on. So, yeah, good to the folk actually come in and listen to us tonight. They're obviously wanting some more pain and misery to talk about Rangers, but let's get into it. It's a running theme this season, talking about Rangers.
It is, mate. Yes, it is. It's becoming a bit of the hamster wheel kind of Groundhog Day. But there is, look, in my opinion, there is reasons to be optimistic, as we will come on to tonight. And also, Ross McLean is joining us. Ross, how are you, mate?
Oh, good, thank you, mate. Oh, good. Yes, indeed. The sun is shining, and that's there's at least a few wee positives to take out the week. So yes, very looking forward to this evening. And if we get bored, we can watch the football. It's on an Ali's telly. I'm not gonna lie, I just saw a throw in there. That looks like a rather interesting game. So I shall keep my eye on that in the background. But yeah, it's good to be on.
An interesting game because you've seen a throw in. You can tell you've been watching Rangers far too much this season, Ross. That is for absolute sure. Yeah, there is obviously quite a big game on tonight in the Championship, but we're here to talk about Rangers and everything that goes along with that as we gear up for the final Old Firm game of this season. And obviously to cover other bits and bobs that have came out since the last time we were on. We will start with the Yanks being in town. The Americans, don't know if I can call them Yanks, I may get offended by that, as if they watch this podcast. Obviously they do. They take all their business advice from us as well, because we're very clever as a business. But no, the takeover consortium, if you will, were in town, made a pretty public kind of appearance by walking around Ibrox. I think they knew exactly what they were doing. They've had a tour of everything to do with Rangers, they've had a tour of Ibrox, they've had a tour of the training ground that they've come here to see what they will be owning in due course. Ali, from this, obviously, look, the reason that they've went out and they've walked around the stadium is exactly that. They knew that it was going to attract media attention. They knew there would be cameras on them. There was wild rumours about them going to be in Glasgow, because I think one or two of them were at the Leeds game the previous night. So they knew very well what they were doing by walking around stadium. I'm just glad, mate, that it wasn't pissing down with rain, and it was probably the nicest day of the year so far for them, which was nice, because Ibrox always looks much more splendid in the sun. But you can take from this, mate, that, well, I am anyway, it's all but a matter of time now, any day now. Really, you can expect the announcement to be made.
It must be close for them to be there. By going by Celtic fans, it's not at all. This is still going to go up in smoke. They still do not believe it. Going by why they want to talk about us is still beyond me. When they're going for a treble this season, they're more interested in our
the only team in town, mate. I say it all the time.
I know.
The only team in town.
It's mental why they want to talk about it all the time, but that's where they are, to be honest. So, but no, it's to show that in the public eye that they were around Ibrox. I've seen big Rahman get up there for the STV, asked a stupid question, and they just looked at him and went, piss off. As if they're going to turn round and give him what he wants.
Yeah. There you go, Rahman. There's every bit of the takeover detail that you're looking for in black and white in front of you. Away and run the story, if you will.
Yeah, in fact, Stewart was giving nothing away. He's just saying we're just showing around the stadium, which was what they were doing. So, it was good to see. Obviously, they've been in the crowd the past couple of months watching Rangers as well, so that's not a secret either. So, it looks like it's getting close, Carney. It has to get close if we're talking about it, because we're sitting here the 2nd of May. Before we know it, pre-season will be upon us. We need to appoint the next Rangers manager, and we need to go about rebuilding this squad before we hit Champions League qualifiers early in the summer, by the looks of it, because of what happened to Bilbao last night. So, yes, it's positive. It's something to look forward to. I know we talk about, at the moment, as a Rangers fan, it's not good with the current squad and what's going on, but looking at in the distance to the summer, I think I agree with you. There's something to be optimistic about. With your flag in the background there, it's a new era for Rangers in the summer, Carney, and I'm looking forward to it.
that's the reason to be optimistic. As I say, they're not in town. Just have a look. Sorry for going further. Div Hunter, thank you very much for coming a member, mate. That's absolutely spot on. Generally do appreciate the support. That really is appreciated. And I've said that a million times, but it's Northern Ireland Green, just so we're all on the same page with that. But yeah, look, it is a reason for me to be optimistic. It is a reason for me to endure the rest of this season. I think that's the nicest way I can say it, because it's took me a bit of time even to recover from last week, even though I was not really shocked what I seen last weekend. But in terms of the team domestically, watching them this season has been one of the hardest that I can remember. Honestly, it has been, because it's almost like it went a step too far. Groundhog Day for how many seasons in a row you're like, and you are at the point where you're kind of sick of seeing your club stall. You're sick of seeing these players stall. You're sick of the sight of the players, really, at this point. But the new owner's been in town it's the change that we're all looking for. Ross, I think we've said, and we've threw accusations at the players, rightly so, about they're kind of clocking in, not doing much more. They are just clocking in. In all honesty, I think fans are in the same position right now. I think we are very much just clocking in because it's Rangers, because it's us. But we all know there is massive change ahead. So this season has been a disaster. We've not performed nearly well enough that we should have. We are now at the point, though, we are just seeing out these remaining few games, because we know that very, very soon everything is not going to be flipped on its head, but it'll be near as damn the same as that. I think the changes are going to be widespread across the club, and it's a weird situation for fans to be in just now.
It is a quite a weird one to be in. I mean, the one thing I would have hoped for would have been a semi-final at Ibrox last night in the Europa League. As Ali said, there was the European ties. That would have just, I'm not going to go there because it'll bring a tear to a glass eye, but it is just kind of clocking in for these last few remaining games. Obviously, I'd rather a big one at the weekend, but for the rest of it, it is very much just let's hang on and see what there's to go by. But yeah, obviously the folk coming in, and your Mirati and Andrew Kavanagh was the two names. Rumour has it that they heard the kits were down to a fiver in Ebbison House. They were just getting their bargain. Quite right, gents, like what you're doing. So yeah, it is very, very good to see. And I am very intrigued to see what next season's going to look like. I mean, that first home game back at Ibrox will it be complete universal changes on the pitch? It better be. But what will even be around the stadium? What will the kind of feel be? It's very, very, very strange in a way. Almost going into a season looking forward to a lot of things off the pitch rather than on the pitch for next season. Although some things on the pitch would be nice. Rangers, let's not be in this situation again next year. That's for sure. So very excited for me, mate, as I say. And yes, go and get your kits while they are on sale.
Yeah, as you say, Ali, we've spoke about it till we're blue in the face now about the changes that are going to need to be required at Rangers. They're huge, absolutely huge. The appointment of Thirlwell, I think, is the start of that. I think that's the beginning of something. I would be shocked if the announcement of the takeover happens and literally the following day or day after that we will announce the new manager. I'm pretty sure that's already been decided, again, just by the way these guys are doing business. The benefit they've got is that they know the full details of the club. They know the ins and outs of the club now. They have went through it all. I am sure there is teams and teams of people that they have, due to the size that they are, that have went through everything in fine detail, all the small print, all the bits that they need to be seen. And they'll know now that this is needing done, X, Y, Z's needing done. But primarily they've done things in the right way in a football in terms for us. Yes, the club as a whole from kind of top to bottom needs a probably refresh. There'll be some areas of the club that don't need touched at all. There'll be other ones that need completely revamped altogether. Ibrox being one of them. We all know that there is certain work that needs done throughout the stadium. But I think with the takeover being so close now, I am at the point where I can't wait, because I am confident. And again, look, I might be giving these guys more credit than they're due, but I'm confident as soon as that day comes that they go, right, the club's now ours, the plan will swing into action. And the thing is, there's that much work to do. It bloody better swing into action immediately.
And the biggest work is on the park. First of all, getting the Rangers manager, and then identifying proper players for Rangers, because we've been badly let down over the last few seasons with player recruitment in terms of players we brought in. So it's massive. They've been in for months. The Americans, they're looking under the bonnet of what's there at Rangers. It's not as bad as when Dave King and that came in years and years ago. There is a structure there to work with, but they need to hit the ground running. They're here to make money, Carney, as we've said for the past donkeys in this podcast. That they're not in here for the love of Rangers as much as we would love that. They're not. They're here to make money. They're businessmen, so they need to get Rangers successful on the park to make money. Off the park as well, commercially. The ground, as you talk about, needs updated badly. Will they look to invest in maybe updating Ibrox in terms of increasing the capacity, as they're doing at Ellen Road at the moment? So there's lots and lots to be done at Ibrox, but as a fan, we just need success. We need a proper football team next season to get behind and see what happens. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight. I mean, next season, you never know, but it'll take time. But yeah, I'm looking forward to these guys will come in and they'll mean business, Carney. They're guys that have the finances behind them that can take us to the next level. The guys that have been there at the moment have got Rangers at heart. They've got their own businesses, but we've stagnated for so long, and they can't take us to that next level. We've had loans, etc. So these guys coming in, I mean, they're not going to fling money about because they can't, obviously, with the financial fair play, but we will have money to spend in the summer, and we will have a much better squad, I'd hope. They start a pre-season. So yeah, it's exciting times, but it's a big job for these guys coming in to make money for Rangers. Ultimately, Rangers need to win that league to get into Champions League, to get the riches which is in there. So it's a big one for them. But we just crave success on the part, because this season and the previous seasons have been an utter disaster. And you look across the road at Brendan Rodgers, who's the smarmiest guy ever. He's got the easiest job in Britain, let's be honest about it.
Apart from Andy Firth when he played for Rangers, that was an easier job.
Apart from Andy Firth, yeah.
That was an easier job.
But we want to be competitive next season. We want to lay a glove in them next season. And I think under this new management of Rangers, I think we can. So yeah, we're right to be excited as Rangers fans going forward.
Ross, I don't think any of us are naive enough to think, oh, we're going to get £200 million to go spend in the transfer window. It's not going to work like that. It really isn't. But what I'm excited about is that the trading model that we've spoke about so many times. I mean, so many times we've spoke about it. It's going to swing into action in full here, because they'll be going, not that every penny will be under scrutiny, but every £1 million spent, they'll be going, right, is that the right guy? Are you sure that's the right guy? Let's cross the I's, cross the T's, dot the I's. Even I hope they don't cross the I's. Don't cross your I's. I'm sure they're better businessmen than that. But they are, as Alex says, they're here to make money. At the end of the day, they believe that Rangers can turn into a massive part of their, or a profitable part of their enterprise, of their investment group. They wouldn't be taking it on if they didn't believe that. So that alone is exciting. But even, as I say, without a transfer kitty that's going to kind of dwarf Man City or anything like that, where none of us are going to expect anything like that. But what we can expect is real investment. And this summer of change is probably, it's going to be up there with the biggest probably in my lifetime. I honestly think it's that big now. I know obviously we had a massive kind of overhaul when Gerrard first came in, and it was a real change in direction then, but this is arguably bigger than the change of direction for the club, because it's not just the manager that's changing, it is everything that will change.
It will be everything, and it's one thing that has probably frustrated me a few transfer windows is that, you know, you look at even January, for example, there's rumours of players coming in. There's never really rumours of people going out. I think this season, you're right, you're going to see this complete flip on its head, and it's needed it for so long. I'm not gonna lie, I'm slightly optimistic that whenever I did first hear the takeover, literally like the very, very early stages of the takeover, my eyes lit up. My football manager head came on, like, right, okay, Haaland, and you come, Mbappe, and you beat it. I mean, it's not going to be like that, as much as I'd love it to be that. But you're spot on, mate. And one thing we spoke about last week, of course, this Thelwell coming in at Everton, he thrived on identifying these big earners, these big players with big potential, and bringing in the youth players, the likes of your Anthony Gordon, etc., bringing in the Ndiaye's of Everton. There's people there who have the right plans in place, and they are at our club. They are associated with us now, which we have a strong arsenal in the back in terms of people actually, who belong to our club, who can make these decisions. These people are ours. So there's a lot to get behind, and obviously, as a case of we need to wait to see what happens, because it's all well and good these guys being the right people need to make the decisions, but if there was ever a time to be optimistic that they can make the decisions, it's now. The people are there. There's more people coming in, and there's not enough American flags to go about. So Ibrox should get them in the fan shop as well. Get some American flags.
I'm looking forward to seeing the Union Bears tifo. I imagine they'll do an American one pretty soon. I would imagine they would. I don't know. Maybe they won't, but maybe they're not as for this as we all are. But it'll be interesting to see. As I say, the next step for me is obviously the confirmation that the deal was complete and that they have took over. But obviously, following that pretty quickly should be the appointment of the new manager, because he should be good to go as soon as the final whistle of the season. The final game of the season goes, the new manager should be ready, put in place, and the work starts as of right now. I was away for work midweek. I was speaking to one of my colleagues who's also a Rangers fan, and we started talking about it. He knows I do the podcast, and we started talking about things, and I was like, I named about 10 players just off the bat without even thinking, without going deeper to the guys. Like, we've heard that Matondo's getting returned back to Rangers in the summer. Yippee. But again, he's another guy that we need to move on because of the price that the wages that he gets paid. But just off the top of my head, I named 10 guys that I was like, he should go. And I'm like, 10 guys, 10 players. There's nobody really that's set to stay now, and this change is going to be huge. Honestly, it's going to be absolutely ginormous. But anyway, on managers, Gary did ask out the managers who are linked. Who do you want? Who do you want? Who do you think should get the Rangers job? For me, look, this is difficult, this one, because I've said that a million times before. I am a Steven Gerrard fanboy. Loved him when he played football. Loved him as Rangers manager. And then you kind of maybe put a kind of different head on and go, well, he's not been massively successful anywhere else he's went apart from us. But as a guy that buys the club and gets the club and understands the football club, you're probably not going to find anybody better than that, because I think Gerrard's been there and done it. He also, Liverpool and Glasgow are always linked as being similar cities, the way that we approach things. So for me, I'm like, it would be something that I would be keen to see, because I think there's an element of success probably in it because of what's gone before. But I think I can understand why some people might be against it. I think everybody that's been linked, Ali, not all of them are, like, I wouldn't say every one of them. There's no real outstanding candidate, if that makes sense. There's not one that's been named where we've went, wow, we should definitely go and get him. But I'm always the same when it comes to managers. I can have my opinion of who I think next Rangers manager will be. The likelihood is it wouldn't be that manager, because that's the way it tends things to go. I would never have put Philip Clement forward for the Rangers job. It didn't even cross my mind that it should be him, but he was the one that kind of got linked and we kind of moved on from there. I'm not really out of the ones you've been linked with, mate, is there anyone that's standing out for you? Because right now I'm like Gerrard, but that's probably because I already know what he is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Out of the ones that have been mentioned, no, if I'm being honest. But I mean, I agree with Gerrard. He ticks the boxes in terms of a guy that's been here before. He knows what it's about here. He knows Scottish football, which is a big thing. I think the next Rangers manager needs to know about Scottish football. Yeah, he ticks the boxes. Yeah, he's not been majorly successful after Rangers in terms of it. He did do well at Villa at the start and then fell away. He went across to Saudi Arabia, which is a joke, to be honest. That's just a money-making place. So, yeah, I listen to you talk about Gerrard. I think you said, Carney, that he wouldn't, if he was the next Rangers manager, you wouldn't be upset about it, basically.
No, I wouldn't. No,
I'm along the same lines of that. Would I choose him as my first choice? Probably not. I would like to go maybe a different direction. but then people ask the question, well, who do you want? And I'm honestly don't know. I don't know. When you look at when Celtic brought Postecoglou and a guy that nobody had heard of, and look what he did to them, the way the type brand of football he brought to them, successful. Do you look to something like that? I don't know. I really don't know. It's difficult. Mourinho's been mentioned, but he's been there, done it, Mourinho. And you look at the teams he's been at recently, he's not been majorly successful. Doesn't really deal with younger players, you would say. He's got aging teams. The other guy it was linked, was it Leipzig manager? Was it Marco Rose again? I don't know. I've seen a picture of my Celtic scarf put up instantly. Yeah. But you knew there'd be something like that, which doesn't bother me. But to answer the question, no, there's nobody that's really I want him at all. But ultimately, it's not up to us who the next Rangers manager is. It's up to the new owners and the board of who they need to bring in. But whoever they bring in has to know Scottish football. They need to know what Scottish football's about. It's all right being good in Europe and everything, but the bread and butter is winning this league and knowing the league. Do you know what Scottish football's like? It's completely different to some of these other leagues. The hammer throwers that are in it. We need to be physical next season. We're too lightweight as a team, but yeah, it's. I can see it being somebody left field potentially, somebody that's not even been mentioned. And the thing with the bookies is, somebody needs to put a couple $100 and a few people do it as well, and a guy goes up the odds of. So you don't know, but we need to appoint somebody, ideally, probably 1st of June. That's when we need to appoint someone.
Yeah, Stephen Murray said, do you think Gerrard was massively successful at Rangers? If I said that, I didn't mean to say that, because that's not really what
he did what he had to do.
He did. He had a remit, and
he should have won more trophies. I agree on that. He should have won more, but ultimately he came and did what he had to do.
Yeah, I didn't mean that way, but he did. He stopped them. He stopped them getting 10 in a row. That was his job. His job was to stop them getting 10 in a row, and he done that. I think the rebuild coming in now would arguably probably bigger than what he had previously, genuinely, because of the way that we've ended up with this club. So yeah, and arguably he should have won the league. We were on for winning the league the year he decided to leave, but I'm not angry at him for leaving because of what came out in the wash after that about the fact that he just didn't get back to the board. They stopped when we won 55 and they didn't push on any further, and that has led us to the 2nd of May 2025. The reason that we are here now is because of their decision after we won the league, and that's my opinion. That's my take on it. I think if we had done things properly, we could have had very, very successful years after that, and we didn't. So, Ross, is there anyone stands out for you? Any of the managers that have been linked that you think, he's the man for me?
Likewise, I'm not decided yet. I'm not, lads. I'm not gonna lie. I obviously the one that does get banned a bit is Gerrard just now. I'm the same. I would love Steven Gerrard to come back in. I do think he fits the bill just now in terms of somebody who understands Scottish football. He's a big name again, American. The consortium will like him in. The one thing for me is that I think if Gerrard comes in, do you see him getting the time? If it was, for example, a Marco Rose, that again, it's all hypothetical because that's still a massive name. But I reckon if it was to start off a bit shaky, fans would get behind it. It's a new guy in the block, a big name. They'd maybe get behind it. I don't know if Gerrard came in and say the first season doesn't go well, maybe the second season doesn't go great either. I don't think he'll get the same time as other managers will. And it's another thing that we can't keep chopping managers about. Gerrard's he's probably the best option, but he's the most vulnerable to losing his job because it's happened before. So that does kind of leave me a wee bit sceptical with it. But if he was to come in and he does do the right job, I'd be well on having Steven Gerrard back at Ibrox. I'm sure he would as well. So we will see what happens. There'll be loads of names banded about, but as Ali says, it's just the bookies' odds just now. There could be somebody completely left field. It could be whoever. But for me, I'd love it to be Gerrard, but I just feel that his job would maybe be on a wee bit of a shaky peg if things don't start off well.
It's a very good point, mate. It's a very good point. I think Rangers fans would lose patience with it quite quickly. And there's one thing that we need, and it's stability, man. We need to stabilise the club. We need to stabilise the squad as well as pretty much rebuilding the squad. We need to stabilise the whole manager team, the direction that we're going on the pitch. That's for absolute sure. So yeah, very good point, mate. Very, very good point. One that I maybe hadn't considered. But look, I say when Kevin Thelwell was appointed, nobody seen it coming. It was literally rumoured in the morning and it was announced by the evening. So Rangers seem to be doing their business quietly, which is great. I am all for that, generally all for it. But it'll be interesting to see. I'll be shocked if there's not some form of link between them and the takeovers consortium. There'll be something somewhere that links them. You can see why everybody that has been linked like that. You can see why they would maybe fall into the category of being the possibility for the next Rangers manager. But I think we're at the point now we need a manager. I want a manager probably kind of along the lines of what Celtic went and done when they appointed the Postecoglou. I want a style of football manager. I want a style of football appointed for something. Well, he needs to have two things. One, he needs to know how. He needs to, as Ali said, he has to understand Scottish football and how difficult it's going to be to win games when you're everybody's cup final. Literally, everybody's cup final is coming to play Rangers. So you have to understand that. You have to understand the pressures that go with that, and you have to come up with a tactic to try and break down 10 men, because that's just what happens. It's the way it's going to be. Possession football doesn't mean anything in Scotland if you're Rangers, because the 9 times out of 10 they give you possession, so it's not as if you have to battle to win the possession. But the second massive quality that he has to have is adaptability. Don't be a slave to one particular tactic. Have ideas, have different approaches to how you want to do things. I think that's incredibly important, because Europe, as we've seen, is a completely different kettle of fish. But even in some domestic games, just changing up a bit, keeping teams guessing sometimes will work wonders. It really will, instead of just the same thing over and over again, rinse and repeat. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing who it will be, and I would imagine they've got their eyes already fixed, if not the deal already done for the next Rangers manager. One name that came up that I'm absolutely not for is Russell Martin. I don't think that's the kind of direction the Rangers need to be going in. Everything else apart from that, I'm like, well, maybe he can have an argument with that, but we will wait and see. We'll move on now. It always makes me laugh when we was such a poor season and we've got to do a player of the year awards. I'm like, do we have to do one? Do you really have to do one? But there's one I'll concentrate on, I think, or a couple. I'll concentrate on a couple. The player of the year was Raskin. The player's player of the year was Raskin as well. And the goal of the season was Igaman for his goal against Celtic at Parkhead. Ali, it's difficult to put together a short list for who you think your player of the year is going to be. There is not many that has had any sort of consistent run. I think at the start of the season we might have put our hat on somebody like Raskin, maybe, but again we weren't really sure if he was going to feature. It took him a time to get into the squad. Maybe Butland, possibly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, James Tavernier could have had another golden year. You never know. But we weren't filled with great choices when it came towards the end of the season about who we would put forward for our player of the year. So, do you agree with it being Raskin for the player of the year, or the player's player of the year? And if not, who would you have picked? It's a difficult question, mate. I'll go for that. I feel like Raskin's almost won it by default. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, because he's finished better this season. Like, I feel like he has kind of won it by default. Controversially, Dessers finished top goal scorer, and I'm like, surely he should have been in the question. And don't at me, by the way, everybody in the chat. I mean, Dessers is surely in for a shout considering he scored so many goals, but he has missed more than he scored.
Yeah, player of the year and an absolute disaster of a season. Ultimately, none of them deserve the award, but somebody has to get it. For me, they had 2 picks from, and it was Raskin and Cherny. That was the 2 for me that they had to pick from. Raskin got it. Yeah, he's been decent probably the last 6
months. 2 players that you and I have also written off previously. Both of us have.
Written off.
Humble pie, yes, I'll take a little bit of that.
Yes. But I mean, you're bouncing around the rest of the squad, and there's nobody else at all that's even, I would think, close to the 2 of them, to be honest. So I could maybe Dessers because of the goals he scored, but yeah, I can understand why they give it a Raskin. I think he's been very good recently for Rangers. He's an asset for us now. I could potentially see him going in the summer if somebody has a wee nibble at him in the summer. I think he may go in the summer. Maybe not for the money some Rangers fans want, but we need to start moving players on and making money on players. So I could see him going in the summer. For me, I'd probably give it to Czerny, a guy that when he first came in, I remember he scored that goal at Hampden in his debut, I think it was against Motherwell potentially. Whipped it in with his left foot, and you thought, oh, we've got a player here. And then he fell away, Carney. And I remember
because everybody figured out all he wanted to do was chop onto his left foot.
Get the left foot, yeah. And I remember us all going, and they had that dig at the Rangers fans, you remember, away back then. And we were all going, get him back to his parent company at that point. And the manager must have had a word with him, and after that, he motored on, and he's been important for us. He scored the best part of, I don't know what it is, Ross will probably tell me, 16, 17 goals, whatever it is this season. Czerny, 10 assists as well. We've been crying out for
his notebook.
He's checking that now, I can see. It must be around about that, but he's provided a lot of goals for Rangers, a lot of assists. He's a danger man for Rangers. He's a guy that if you give the ball to, he can do something. Yes, he's predictable to a point in terms of he's going to go into that left foot, but his numbers don't lie for me. I think he's been a very good loan signing for Rangers. We've been shouting about players that play wide for us for the past umpteen seasons that don't contribute in terms of goals and assists. I keep saying Ryan Kent is a good example of that, where I like Ryan Kent, but his numbers weren't great in terms of goals. He's done it, Czerny. He scored a lot of goals for Rangers. A guy that probably he'll move in the summer to somewhere. I doubt it'll be us. I think he'll be out with our reach, but he's been a good signing for us, and I'd give it to Czerny. That's the guy I'd pick.
Yeah, no worries. Alan, you've said, can you tell me a striker that scores more than he misses? I mean, I'll break it down for you, okay? It's the nature, it's the chances that it's the goal scoring chances that Dessers misses. So I hope that explains that a little bit for you. Ross, are you in any disagreement? Andy knew you're going to swing in a curveball here, mate. Is it really only two, and Raskin and Czerny are the only two that you could really say that would deserve any sort of kind of player of the year? As I say, I'm kind of not against these things, but I'm a little bit like read the room with it, I suppose, I think, because of how poor this season's been. It's not that we should just cancel them and only do it when we're successful, because I know, kind of up and down, I get it. You can damned if you do, damned if you don't. But anyway, who's your choice?
This year it probably is the Nico Raskin award for me. It has to be him, definitely. He's spot on. 17 goals for Czerny. That's 24 contributions in 48. So it's a goal and assist every second game. So it is an interesting conversation with Czerny. Whether he stays with us next season, I'm not sure, but that's definitely some appetising numbers to kick us off. I think this season's been a weird one because you go right back to the very start, and Connor Barron looks like the best thing since sliced bread. I was convinced it was going to be the year of Connor Barron.
Because he ran about a bit.
Exactly. He looked absolutely brand new. And then even there was a time when, I don't know if he was player of the year material, but Jeffy was coming on to a right game. Mm-hmm. There was a time where he was well and truly
how wrong
were
we? How wrong were we?
Honking Jeffy. Me can't even right all at the start.
We were right. Oh, he's god awful. So he is, man.
I know. And then obviously the one for me that, again, I don't know. It's not player of the year yet, but there was times that Igman just absolutely magnificent with a football. He's an incredible talent, Igman, and I cannot wait to see him hopefully next season as a number 9. Obviously, when Sunday's a number 9, but just a season with him at striker. I reckon we've maybe rolled our luck a wee bit, because I reckon if he was on the form he was on, he would be gone in the summer. See that we've now got potentially, obviously something can come in from him, but if we now have a season with Igman, that could be absolutely massive. So I'm going to give it to Raskin as well. I'll be boring. Although I will say, honourable mention, I think for what it's worth, Inciala has been not bad this year. I think he can look back at his first spell at Rangers and go, you know what? there's obviously been some peaks and troughs, but I do think for a guy coming in, very impressive for me. Something I want to see going forward. So Raskin for me, but Inciala, you can be proud of for the bit of the season that he's been here.
Yeah, don't get me wrong, against Kilmarnock he was absolutely hoaching, man. Like, I mean, shockingly bad generally. But I think when he eventually got back into the squad, I thought he reacted quite well. I do think he reacted quite well. I think there's definitely a player in there. He's probably worth persevering. So yeah, but who did I write off more? Probably Tierney. I'm probably going to need to agree with Ali. I think I wrote him off way more than I wrote off Raskin. I really did. I was like, who is this guy? I remember saying that at Ibrox, like, who is this guy? What have we signed here? Yeah, so he's really going to prove me wrong. I think he became the guy, though unfortunately for him, he became the guy that we just got the ball to and hoped something would happen for him, which I think's made him suffer a little bit. I think he's frustrating at times, but he never stops trying to kind of take guys on. He's not blessed with blistering pace, but I think he's kind of adapted his game slightly once he kind of hit his bad patch, and then made it quite clear that he kind of sorry for the reaction that he made towards the Ibrox crowd. So yeah, I think I'll give it to Tierney, but I think that's purely just based on the fact that I'd gave him way more of a hard time than I did give Raskin. I think Tierney won't be here next season, in my opinion. I think there'll be an offer made by Spain. I think he's the highest interest coming from that region, and I think the offer will just be too much for us. Rangers, it's critical for us. I know I'm going off on a tangent here. It's critical for us not to break wage structures. It really is. We have to stick within a structure. We have to stick within that and not break the rules, unless it is like a ridiculous signing that Rangers can afford to go and make. Then I mean, you're always going to make exceptions for things like that. But the fact that Rabbi Matondo is one of the highest earners at our football club tells you exactly what's wrong with the squad. It really does. And sorry for Rabbi bashing tonight, by the way, but I mean, I mean, you can't really say anything. Ali, any difference in the goal of the season for you, or was it Igaman's goal?
I'm trying to rack my brain tonight, thinking the goals. That had a good goal, like a man, and what it meant at Parkhead as well. We hadn't won there in bloody years too, so fantastic. The only other one I thought of was your man Dessers, the goal at Old Trafford, the way he just brought the ball down.
Why don't we should really do we should talk before we record the podcast? Yeah, that is generally that's fine.
That was the one I had. Of all the goals that have Rangers,
of all the men to score the goals.
No, I know. I need to be fair. There was one other one that I thought of, which was Dessers as well, which was when we beat Aberdeen at Ibrox. We scalped them. I'm trying to think what the score was. It wasn't that long ago. It was about 3 months ago or something, 4 months ago. And he came off the bench, Dessers, sat one of their players down and put the ball in the bottom corner. That was a great goal. But the one at Old Trafford, because he did it in a big stage at a big time. So I'll go with that one.
Yeah, we should talk before. Mine was that. I was just trying to be different as well, and I thought, what was another goal that I went, what a goal, and it was definitely that one. Definitely, I mean, what a strike that is. It really is on the big stage as well. So, yes, Dessers gets my vote as well, unbelievably. Ross, you going to be any different for that?
I'm not gonna lie, lads. I've got 5 written down for this season.
Do you? Or you're going to? I'm going to change my mind here because you've thought about this more than I have.
I know. I've got one. I had a wee bit of joy watching back some goals. There was, there's not a lot to look back at this season, but there was 5 crackers for me that stood out. So I've got one winner, but the ones that I've got written down is Tom Lawrence against Hibs. It was 1-0. It wasn't very exciting, but it was an absolute screamer. It was
ruled off, was it not? And then it was
initially, yeah. And then he had literally, they didn't get to celebrate. He had his head in his hands, but I remember I was there right at the club deck, perfect view. Wow, I mean that's if you could only get that out of Tom Lawrence every time. But hey, well, that was one for me. It was an honourable mention. I think Hadji versus Celtic in the 3-0 game. I think it was the 7th minute. Absolute limbs. You saw what it meant. I think he went over to his dad's. Like you could see him in the gantry. That was an absolute cracker. I love that goal. I think actually Cyril Dessers, Dundee United away. I think it was late in the game. It's the 80-something minute, and that
the tight angle, the one at the tight angle, isn't it? Oh,
yeah,
it's a screamer.
Yeah, you'll not see a ball struck sweeter than that top right corner. That was that. Yeah, absolute cracker. And then the other one, it's not goal of the season. Honourable mention was Tierney versus Fenerbahce. The Raskin assist on it is one where Raskin just plays that absolute beauty of a through ball. And obviously the limbs of that as well.
Do you know Diamande plays that ball?
I think it was Raskin for that one. I think it could be Diamande, actually. I'm not sure. It was Raskin or Diamande that played the ball. It's really, really far deep. And then just Tierney lashes onto it. And it's, I think I was for 3-1, I think. But that was an absolute crack of a goal. But for me, I'm going goal of the season was Diamande versus Nice. The goal that the ball gets played over, and I don't know how he judges the flight of the ball, but he just dinks it over the keeper, and that's honestly the technique on that for me. It's not like your Dessers, like the absolute thunderbolt, but that genuinely breathtaking stuff from Diamande. So I'm gonna give Diamande the goal of the season against Nice. That's my one for this year.
He really does show us up, Alistair, doesn't he, Ross? He definitely does his homework. That is for absolute sure. That's they're all pretty good shouts, though. You're going to change your mind now, Ali?
No, I was just saying that Al McConnell say he wants to see Fernandes next season. I was like, he been drinking tonight. Fernandes. It's a no for me. Sorry, Alan, but it's a no for me.
It's a no for me. It's a no for me. But the next thing he mentioned there, in the chat, what do you guys think about Kasanwirjo? Should we exercise the option to buy? Obviously, he scored for the B team during the week, and we were actually going to come on and talk about that. We'll talk about this quickly before we preview the Old Firm. Ali, we've been linked with Mulligan from Dundee, another player that we're kind of strongly linked with. Rangers are keen on that particular move. He's attracting interest from down south. Kasanwirjo obviously coming back in. We were all pretty keen on him when we seen him due to his physicality. Kind of based on what we'd seen, he was quite a promising player, and not really unfortunate injuries kept him out for about 6 months. Back sooner than I thought he was going to be. Whether he'll feature for us for the rest of the season, I'm not 100% sure due to whatever stage he's at. But a great goal, by the way, an absolute great goal that he scored. And we do have a kind of decision to make with him, I think, because I think his parent club would be keen for him to stay with us. I think the reason that he didn't go back after such a big injury is the fact that there's probably interest still from Rangers in order to keep him at the club going forward, whether it be another year extension or whatever, and a deal worked out that we can kind of snap him up at the end of his contract or not. I'm not 100% sure, or whether the option would be open for him at the end of that, whether we just get 1 year out of him, etc. All these things can happen. And yeah, it led me thinking about the right back area. Obviously, we don't know what manager's coming in. We also don't know what style of play, what formation the manager's going to play. I would like us to get the hell away from a 3-5-2 that we've seen under Barry Ferguson, because it's horrific. With these current group of players, it's horrific. I don't particularly like it. I don't think it's required in Scotland. I would prepare 4 at the back. It's what you do with the midfield and the attack that's more interesting to me, but 4 at the back is the way to go for me. And obviously the age-old question will always be, is this Tav's last year? For me, it is. Generally it is, unless we are going to make the full commitment that he moves to right centre half. Then as a right back, I don't think Tav can be here next season. Or be our starter anyway. And Mulligan and Kasanwirjo is the two at the right back. I kind of went, I think I could get on board with that.
Yeah, Mulligan for Dundee. Yeah, young, could tick the box. Whether he'd be a first choice starter, you don't know. But we need probably 2 right backs in summer. Probably need 2 bloody left backs as well, because as it says, Jeff isn't good enough. So and Yilmaz
100%, and Yilmaz has to go. He has to go.
So in terms of Kasanwirjo, I agree. I didn't think I'd see him again. When I seen him line up for the B team in that cup final, I thought, Christ, I never thought we'd see him again. Yeah, he looked good. We've been bitten with this before, though. He looked good, and he's been out for a long time. If they came back and said you can have him a year's loan again with an option to buy, not an obligation to buy, i.e. Cortez, yes, I'd be on board with that. We've been bitten with a Cortez one. Who signed that off? Honest to God, when the guy was injured.
I'd love to see Ali on the board at Rangers. Would you not love to see that, Rossi, for a day? Just to see
these guys.
Who signed this off? Who done this?
These guys are paid big money to make big decisions, and you're like, who's making these decisions? But The Cortez one, I mean, we've reportedly got an obligation to buy this guy for, was it €4 million or something? We've not even seen, he didn't even get on against St Mirren, did he, at the weekend? No. So what are we doing with him? So that's interesting, him alone. But yeah, Kasanwirjo, if we could get him alone next season, just alone with an option to buy, yeah, I'd be on board with it. He ticks the box. He's physical, which I liked about him. He had a physicality about him. He wasn't getting bullied, which we get all the time. We get bullied as a team, so I liked him. It was unfortunate he got injured. It wasn't with Rangers, it was with his national team. So, yeah, I'd be on board with that. And Mulligan as well. Yeah, he ticks the boxes again. He's young. So, yeah, that's like the 2 players for Dundee. So, aye, 2 players, but it's a long list of players, like I say, Canada. The whole back line needs surgery, including the goalkeeper as well. So,
Ross, I think it would be a start. A guy like Kasanwirjo and Mulligan, it would be a start to the rebuilding that does need required at the back for Rangers. I think we're all in agreement that Jeff Day and Yilmaz, they are 2 that we would happily see move on. No disrespect to Balogun. I don't think we should be even slightly relying on him at all for next season, whether that means he's here or he isn't. Again, that's not for me to decide. He's a good guy to have around. He's clearly a leader. But the age of him, and we've seen him break down numerous times this season. Not his fault. We are asking him to play too much football, probably at his age. And it's no disrespect to him, but I think we should move away from having to rely on Balogun. Shooter's one that I think will probably remain. But the right back area is always one that's going to be up for debate and has been for many years. So what's your take, Mulligan and Kasanwirjo, and maybe move Tavernier on or move him to right centre half? What's your thoughts?
I think quickly on Tav, that I can, if going back to Gerrard would want Tavernier. I reckon he'd be one of the first names he would probably want to keep. So I do think that we need to eventually just accept that he needs to move on. But I do think that if Gerrard was to come in, he'd probably stay another season. The Mulligan's an interesting one. Looked it up, 37 games this season, 6 assists as well for him. So he's definitely getting about for a 22-year-old. So it's one that he also link up well with Lyle Cameron, of course. So well and truly employing the Dundee first team. But it's a step in the right direction. The one thing is that homegrown will get behind it. It's the one thing that people are crying out for. So Mulligan would be a good bit of business for me. Kasanwirjo, I'd be taking. I'd 100% be taking. I really, really like the look of him. And one thing that we have now lost is that, he's injured. Dujon Sterling. I think as much as Sterling, he does have his flaws, yes, but he's strong, he's athletic, he's versatile. We need somebody like that. Kasanwirjo, I reckon we've potentially landed at our feet in which he's almost I wouldn't say a perfect replacement, but you know what I mean? Like he fits that bill perfectly. And I'm not saying let's play him all over the back line. I want them to get an established position in the team, as we say. But I do think Kasanwirjo is one that if I'm tempted fate, if he can stay fit, he's a brilliant bit of business. He's a brilliant, and I know. Those words even just make my skin crawl. But Kasanwirjo, I'd be keeping if we can. So yeah, Mulligan, Kasanwirjo, let's try and get them tied up.
I think with Sterling, unfortunately, I think the ship sailed now. He can't do it. He can't stay fit. And obviously, I'm maybe being slightly contradicting in the fact that Kasanwirjo's been out for so long. But again, you're hoping that that's just a kind of one-time injury, like a real bad one that he's had. Every player will get one in their career. Unfortunately, it just happened to happen when he was at Rangers, because of course it did, because we are cursed like that. And I would be a wee bit cautious of us being stuck with too many injury-prone defenders, basically. Too many injury-prone defenders. We'd have to see how Kasanwirjo responds. But if the deal's right, I mean, I'm all for keeping him about, because what I've seen of him, I think we all quite fancied it. We all quite like the look of him. So, yeah, but for Sterling, for me, nah. I think the decision has to be made by Rangers that, unfortunately, you're not reliable. We can't rely on him. It's just unfortunate as it is. We just can't rely on him. He breaks down far too much. He plays, 3, 4, 5 games and then goodbye, I'll see you next season kind of thing to him. So, but that's not what we need going forward. Anyway, lads, cautious on time. It's obviously the last Old Firm game of the season this weekend as we take on Celtic at Ibrox. Ali, you're going to be doing a guard of honour for Celtic? I just thought I'd ask because everybody else seems bloody obsessed by this.
Well, I'd like to know why they're so obsessed with it when it's never happened.
It's never happened. And
regardless
they would not, the thing that really does my nut in is they would never even dream of doing it for us, man. Can you imagine their fans if we'd won the league and we were going out to Parkhead for the last game of the season and they gave us a guard of honour? My goodness, man, they'd be flinging themselves off stands.
Well, they didn't do it and we won the league title. When we stopped there, it's an absolute, it's a joke. It's never going to happen. The two clubs hate each other. It's never going to happen. I seen Brenda was out today, wheeled out in front of the press, giving them all the sound bites that they're craving in terms of lack of respect and all this kind of nonsense and
a lot of rubbish.
He's honestly, he's a smarmiest guy.
I despise the man, mate. I do.
I seen the guy for Dundee. What was he? McCowan, whatever he's called. Had a wee jibe as well, which I like, to be honest, because I like sound clips like that. That's good ones to use for later down the line if we do win the title next season. That one will be rolled out probably, but guard the honour, that's a lot of garbage. If Rangers won the title and we were going to Parkhead, I wouldn't. If Celtic went, we're not giving them a guard of honour. Wouldn't be bothered at all. Doesn't bother me. The two of them, we don't like each other. That's the end of it. No guard of honour. Celtic have won the league and well done to them. They deserve to win the league. They've been the best team by a country mile this season. I've got nothing to say about that. They deserve to win it. They will go on and win a treble. They'll hump Aberdeen in the final. I'll expect that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. They will hump Aberdeen. And well done to them. But a guard of honour at Ibrox, no. No, not for them. So, it's absolute garbage and it's pantomime stuff, really, isn't it?
It's a joke. Ross, we're in a situation, and I'm in a situation, I think, as a fan. And look, every old football game's important. Yes, it is. I always want to beat them. I'm also at the point where I don't know if I want Rangers to beat them, because 3 times in a season we beat them in the league and we finish 4 years behind them in the title race. You're like, do I actually want that stat? Do I want to be associated with that? You get where I'm coming from. But look, I said it to somebody that's a Celtic fan who phoned me on Wednesday, and we were talking about it, and I said, it wouldn't surprise me if we beat you. And he was like, it wouldn't surprise me if you beat us as well. And I'm like, what is this season and what is this Rangers team? But what's your thoughts ahead of the game, mate?
Oh, I don't think anybody can predict this. It's such a weird one. I do think that there's bragging rights. It's not a trophy, I know, but 3 times beating them this season it's something to get right, and it's something to end this season on a wee bit of a high. I was speaking to my brother. They are lined up perfectly to beat us. I think Celtic, they're coming on the form they're on. They've just won the league. They'll be right up for it. See if we can just dampen that down just for a bit. I know it doesn't. There's 3 trophies going to be won this season, but I do think that Sunday is still massive. But also it does. Obviously, we know that there's going to be a lot of changes needed and a lot of changes that will happen. It does lay a wee bit of a marker down for next season that, right, we've got their number. We've got their number, and we've got a number with a poor Rangers team. Let's be honest about it. The games we've played, yes, we've been good on our day, but in terms of fundamentally, it's not the Rangers team who you'll hopefully see next season. So I do think Sunday, as much as there's not anything, there's not going to be shiny things lifted thanks to that game, but not for us anyways. But there's still, for me, it's an old firm. You need to get up for it. So I'm very looking forward to it. It'll be the last time for quite a few of these players. Last time for Ferguson as well, by the looks of it. He'll be more than up for it. So it'll be interested to see his animation on the sidelines. That's for sure. So bring it on Sunday. Honestly, if it's one of these things, you can't get up for an old firm. I don't know what we're doing. So I'm looking forward to it, mate. And yes, let's be having you as always.
I think, Ali, for me, in all honesty, I don't think it has any bearing on next season at all because of the change that's going to come. But you always want to beat them. There's always that thing that you feel that I want to beat them, and you always do. I think the players, due to their incompetence this season, their sheer lack of fight, desire, the embarrassing goals conceded stat that will be put to this team this season, that which they should very much be embarrassed about. They owe this to the fans. They owe us they owe us a win against them at Ibrox to finish off this season. I think that's the least that they can do. Agreed?
Of course they owe us, Christ. They owe us more than in a win on Sunday, but it's whether they can do it or not, Karen. I mean, Barry Ferguson's out in front of the press after all these games, sitting there going, what the hell do I need to do to these players? Because I tell them during the week what to do, and then I watch it on the park and they're not listening to instructions.
Well, even his press conference today, though, he mentioned again that he's had the correct reaction from them, and he said that before the Hibs game, and I'm like, that's the bit that niggles in the back of my head. I'm going, but have they listened, and are they listening? And he's going, they better listen. With all due respect to Barry Ferguson, they're all looking at you going, you're not the Rangers manager, you're not going to be the Rangers manager going forward. And a lot of these guys, as Ross has said there, this will be the last time they had the experience an Old Firm game. So it's up to them what mark they want to leave on it.
What mark do they want to leave? Because from what I've seen, a lot of these guys, that I don't think they care, Karen. They know, a lot of them know they won't be there in the summer. They will be moving on. I really don't know what I'm going to see on Sunday. I will know it'll be a different Celtic team coming to Ibrox on Sunday than what we played at Parkhead. I mean, they were missing, was it McGregor was missing from their game? So he'll be playing for them. And he obviously makes them tick in the middle of the park. But they'll want to right the wrongs of that, what happened in their backyard, us beating them. Obviously, their fans are in Ibrox as well for the first time, and God knows how long. They'll be coming to rub it into our faces. I'd be doing the same if I was in their position as well. So it's up to Rangers. It's one last game. You want to beat them, obviously. You want to beat them at anything. It's our ground as well, and you want to send them away. So it's down to these players, Carney. Whether they could do it or not, I honestly don't know. I really don't know what I'm going to see on Sunday. Yes, we've got up for games this season in Old Firms, Europe, etc. But just looking at them recently, Rangers, they just look like they've checked out. The monkey in the back of Ibrox, we've not won at Ibrox, and was it 5 games we've been beaten or something at Ibrox in a row? So that's the monkey in the back too. That's pressure on them to win as well because of that too. So I honestly don't know what I'm going to see on Sunday, Karen. Wouldn't surprise me if Rangers win, but then the other side, it wouldn't surprise me if Celtic came and scalped us. It really wouldn't. So we will see what happens on Sunday.
Yeah, look, I can get your trepidation, mate. I've got no doubt that honestly in my head, I'm going, I think we'll see this Rangers team perform because it's just what they do. So? Yeah, it's just what they do, mate. Like, I expect us to, we might not win the game because we'll obviously let Celtic concede 2. We'll let Celtic score 2, obviously. Well, because that's just part of our game plan to always let the other team score twice. So we'll have to see how many we can score on top of that. But I think they will, mate. I think there'll be a performance there. I really do. I think it also depends on what Barry Ferguson decides to do tactically. This 3 at the back, I hope it's gone. I really do. I hope it's not there. I don't think we should be doing that. If he's all about, if he's going to back up his words that he says in the press conference that the 3 points is all that matter, then, well, the fact that he's saying that now is just going to dawn on me. Maybe that was an inkling that he is going to do 3 at the back because he doesn't care about performance. It will just be a case of survive and take our chances when they come, possibly. I don't know, but for me, I wouldn't be doing that. I would be reverting to a 4 at the back, again, a standard kind of 4-3-3, and it's no shock to anyone that my team's exactly the same team that I picked the last time we were going to play St Mirren at the weekend, so I'm not going to change in that regard. And on that, I'll name my team. My team will be Kelly, Tavernier, Suter, Balogun. He trained with a mask on today, so I expect him to start. Balogun, Jeffy, because there's no other option to play. It will have to be Jeffy. Midfield 3, I will pick Rice, Raskin and Diomande. And my front 3 will be Curtis, Agaman and Tierney. That'll be my team. And I'm going
Curtis not injured.
Is he injured?
Did he come off injured in that B team game?
Did he? Thanks, Ali.
Sure he did. Somebody in the comments will tell us. I'm sure he got injured.
I hate putting Agaman out there, to be fair. I do. What else do I do? I'm not playing Cortez, God. I'll put Agaman out there and put Dessers in the middle. But I'm more kind of 4-3-3, if you like, a more kind of standard 4-3-3. Stick someone on McGregor, don't let him get time in the ball. All the things we say all the time. Obviously, let Celtic score twice because that's what we do, but score 3 Rangers, please. That would be great. I'll go for Igaman to score another rip-storing barnstormer of a goal to win us the game. Ross, your team and score prediction, please.
I do apologise. I'm going with the 3 at the back again. I think that's what he's going to play because I think you're spot on. I think it's very much, it doesn't matter about the performance, just get the result. So I'm going Kelly in goal, back 3, Balogun, Inciala, and Suter. You've then got Tav and Jeffrey as your wing backs. Your midfield, you've got Diamandi, Raskin. I'm going to bring Hadji in. I know it might be a bit controversial, but as I say, he scored against Celtic at Ibrox the last time. Just somebody who's a bit of a tin opener, hopefully. There'll be people shouting for Barami. There will be. McGregor's playing. There'll be people saying get Barami in the team. It's a no thank you from me. But you never ever know. And then for me, it has to be Tierney and Igaman. It has to be, because how many times we said, if you want one chance to falter a player, it's Hamza Igaman. Please don't resort to what we already know. If it falls to Dessers, he might score, but he might not, and I can't be having that on Sunday. So I guess Alan, they're saying that Curtis is on crutches. That is absolutely gutting. Yeah, that's all the best to him. Hopefully he comes back fit and well. But that'll be my team on Sunday. I'm going jinx. I'm going 2-1 Rangers. 2-1 Rangers and a Tavernier penalty. I've said it a few times, but a Tavernier penalty, I can see it. Penalty to Rangers.
Ali?
I'll go what I think Barry will go with. I agree with Ross. I think he'll stick with us 3 at the back. I think it'll be Kelly.
Do you not think it's Hoaching? Do you not think it's just terrible?
I don't like it. No, I don't like it. I'd rather go to 4 at the back.
Good. I thought I was out on a limb there. I was like, surely you think that's
he's
terrible.
He's had success against Celtic with it and in bigger games, if you want to say. So I think you'll go with Kelly in goal, Tav, Suter. Bloody Dixie, Christ. I thought he'd be out in the bevy at the moment tonight. Christ, at 9 o'clock he's listening to us. He's thrown me off early. Tav at the back.
He's so tight, but $1.99. How tight is Dixie, by the way?
He can buy us a pint on Sunday. He can do that.
He could buy us a pint, mate. He could buy us a bar. He's minted.
So, Balogun. I think Inciala might come in at the back. Jeffrey, a midfield 3. I agree with Ross. I think it might be Raskin, Diomandi, and Hadji. And the top 2 will be Cherny. And I think he'll stick with Dessers. I think he will stick with Dessers, and I think Igaman might come on. So that's what I think Barry Ferguson will go with.
It's underwhelming, though. And that's underwhelming, that.
It's underwhelming, but that's what I think he will go with. Yeah. You never know. He might throw a curveball. And I think, honestly, at the weekend, I think it's going to be 2 each. That's what I think. And I think Cherny will score for Rangers.
Yeah, well, it's the first time you've said a draw in a long time, mate, I think.
I'd rather be. I'm not going to sit here and say I think Rangers are going to win 3-0 because I don't,
we won't.
To be honest.
No, because Celtic will score because the Rangers can't keep Kidgett close, so there's no there's no chance, mate, that Celtic won't. They will score. But yeah, look, it's going to be a different atmosphere than we're used to or have been used to in recent years because the away support will be back. Let's just hope the Rangers sign off in style for the Old Firm games at least this season. Might be a small victory for us as fans, but we always want the bragging rights, and at least when we get back to the pub after the game, that pint will taste just a little bit sweeter than anything that was anything to go the other way. So look, I just want Rangers to leave everything out there. I hope Barry does something slightly different. Yeah, thanks, Dixie. So I suppose
he's full of shit. Full of shit. He's not drinking Sunday.
I don't believe that.
He's saying that now because he's feeling sorry for himself.
I don't even know if Dixie's got a ticket for Sunday. I'm interested in that one. We need to see if Dixie's got a ticket for Sunday. I'm not sure if he does. But no, look, just Rangers leave everyone out there. As I say, just go out, leave one on them. Do the business. Please sign off your Rangers career and style. Do it for the fans. Do it for us because we deserve it, because we've stuck by there through all amount of garbage this season. So it's time to go out and repay our loyalty a little bit by beating them again. It's as simple as that. For tonight, thank you, chat. Thank you, everybody, for getting involved. Thank you, Dixie, for donating about $1 to us, mate. That's very much appreciated. And yeah, for tonight, Ali, thank you very much, mate.
No problem. I'll look forward to Sunday. It's a bank holiday as well, so majority of people are off on Monday. So yes, the weather's supposed to be good. I will enjoy a couple of pints after the game because the game kicks off at 12, so I doubt we'll get in the pub before. So yes, I look forward to a few pints after the game and hopefully celebrating a Rangers win. Ultimately, it doesn't matter in terms of the league, but it matters in terms of you want to beat them. You want to beat them anything. Their fans will be in the stadium. So it's down to the players. They've got one last chance to give us something to sign out. A bit of pride for themselves as well, to go out and lay a marker and beat Celtic. Yes, it will be bizarre that if we do end up beating Celtic 3 times this season, but lose the league by 13 points, it's a weird one, but it's there for them on Sunday. Just go out and win, Rangers.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ross, mate.
Thank you, Jez. That was good. Yep, I'm looking forward to it on Sunday. As I say, folks, please try and get up for it. I know everyone in the chat. I know it's not a nice place to be.
I'll be up for it. Don't you worry about that.
Of course. I know we will, mate. I hope that all Bears can just enjoy it for what it is. One last hurrah, hopefully. I hope so in this long season. But we're almost there, as you say. We're almost there. A few weeks left. It's like the countdown to Christmas, but it shouldn't be as exciting as it is, but it is. So yeah. we shall hopefully end the season with a win on Sunday. But yes, enjoy it. Hope your team wins, and please play up the famous Glasgow Rangers.
Absolutely. We will be back on Sunday with a reaction after the game. Hopefully you're seeing Alistair and I with happy faces. That would be a nice way to finish off the old fun games this season. Before you go, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, all the usual stuff. And as Ross says, play up, always play up the famous Glasgow Rangers. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast, and we will speak to you on Sunday. Cheers, everybody.